Yes, from womb to tomb, as we like to say in the American Solidarity Party. We believe that human life begins at conception and that human life ends when God calls a soul to himself. And that we, as government and as individuals, need to respect human life at every age and at every stage. We oppose abortion. We oppose euthanasia. We oppose capital punishment, realizing that many people are unjustly convicted, realizing that even if they are guilty of a serious crime, that we can protect society through other means rather than to take their life. We also respect people's needs while alive, the need for health care, the need for good quality education, the need for quality employment. All of these things are part of a true respect for life. I disagree completely. I'm so heartbroken. I am running because America needs an alternative to those positions. We cannot continue as a nation when we are destroying human life, the most innocent, the most defenseless of human life. We must change our ways. We must give them protection. President Trump, in his previous administration, showed that he was willing to support pro-life initiatives, but he has changed. And the Democratic Party for many, many years, decades, has not given any respect to the most defenseless in the womb. So I disagree with Vice President Harris and her positions. I disagree with President Trump. I oppose in vitro fertilization because it creates embryos that are ultimately destroyed, and that represents, each embryo is a human life that must be respected. I believe that marriage is the union of one man and one woman, and I believe that we must protect religious freedom in order that we are able to preserve that original understanding of marriage as the union of one man and one woman. It is, as I suggest, we need to give churches the authority to recognize this. This is where marriage began. Marriage began as an institution, not in civil society, but in religious understanding. And it entered into civil law. There are many things that are good about that, but there are many things that, because it has entered into civil law, now civil society, civil government tells us that they have the right to define marriage, but it didn't originate. So yes, we can be respectful of people who have same-self attraction, but marriage should be recognized as a union of one man and one woman. Children are their parents' offspring, and parents have both a right and a responsibility to form them properly, to educate them properly, to bring them up. And the state cannot step in and take that responsibility, that role away. They can cooperate, they can support it, but they cannot do away with it, and they cannot tell parents how they must educate their children. I have homeschooled some of my children. My grandchildren are homeschooled, so I respect that this is a way that some, especially Christian parents, prefer to raise and educate their children. I also support religious schools and other methods of education. I've been an elected official who oversaw a public education program. So I respect education in all of its manners, but I always place parents as the primary educator of their children. Certainly. Well, this is a principle of the American Solidarity Party. We look to the common good. We want the common good for individuals as well as the broader society. Too often today in politics, the focus becomes on one individual group or one individual political party, and policies and initiatives become directed at their benefit to the detriment often of others. We must stop that. We must look to all people, from the lowest to the highest in education to social status, immigrants. Everyone needs to be treated with respect, with dignity, and we cannot have policies that exclude any part of the population. I would say that socialism is a government-directed institution. It's government telling people that we're going to make everyone equal. What I'm saying the common good is a understanding of all people. And here, especially in the United States, where we have a government that is democratic, that is elected by the people, they run their government to look to the needs of all people. It is not a government-directed program to limit or to control people. It is a government initiative instead to liberate, to free, and to allow people to flourish. Certainly, as economic theories, these are the most common. Here in the United States, we have a capitalistic society. Capitalism has good aspects, but it can also have harmful aspects. Some of the harmful aspects that I see today are when organizations, corporations grow so large that they begin to control their laborers, they begin to place their own executives and own investors at a higher importance than the consumers, the people whom they are seeking to serve. So for that reason, I feel as though capitalism has a place, but it must be a regulated, it must be a directed capitalism, and it must be one that gives the people, especially the workers, an opportunity to be active in the decisions of their organizations so that they can make meaningful incomes and provide for their families. My feeling is this: I entered the race to promote ideals that I believe in. I didn't enter the race to be a spoiler or to defeat somebody else. I entered the race to give people options to vote for things that they want to see in their government. If I am elected, then I will introduce those. If I am not elected, minimally, I hope that I can make these things better known to people, to voters and to others who are elected, and perhaps they will find their way into government. But unless there is a third option, unless there is somebody that is actively seeking to introduce new ideas, where will they come from? We need people to represent views when they are not represented elsewhere. And so voting for Trump only to defeat Kamala Harris, to me, means that you are continuing to accept the circumstances as they are. If you truly want change, you have to vote in a way that will represent change. If you vote for Trump, nobody's going to see that among the vote total. But a vote for the American Solidarity Party is measurable. It says, no, I do not agree with you. No, I do not agree with you. I choose a better way. Christian, we can focus on winning, but I think it's also important to focus on witnessing. We have to be able to introduce ideas, and we have to be able to bring the marginalized a voice. It's important to win in order that you can enact laws with control, but it's also important that values are represented in the public square. So I may not win, and the chances are very slim that I will, but I can certainly bring voice to positions that otherwise would not be heard. Well, first of all, I have an agricultural background. Even though I'm not from the West Coast, I do have an agricultural background, and I know how valuable the labor is that the immigrants have brought here. And I do know that they work very hard and they want to support their families, either here or in their homelands. So I'm glad that they're here. I welcome them. I respect them. I disagree with the positions that would try to limit them or to impose upon them here. And I also understand your position about the empty promises that they've heard. The empty promises are because people want votes. They're not interested in the common good. They're interested only in votes. We need to deliver for people. When I say the common good, it means not just Americans. It means people who have chosen to come to America either because they are seeking opportunity here, as my grandparents did, or because they are seeking refuge from a more terrible situation where they were born and lived. So they must be welcome here, and we must do meaningful things naturally to protect our borders. But that also means giving people a system by which they can enter and they can do the work that you described and be a part of our country. My Catholic faith informs all that I do. I think that as a Catholic, everything that I look at, everything I decide, has to come from what Christ has inspired me to do. And so my politics are very unique compared to politics of the two people that you described earlier. But that is because I choose to follow my faith. That doesn't mean that I think everyone in America should be Catholic or even Christian, but it does mean that the Christian view can apply to the good of everyone.
Okay, so thank you so much, Peter, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.